Hello, good evening and welcome everyone to another round of the WSL GT3 IMB World Championship, and we are off tonight because we are of course away to Monza. It's David Christie here with you tonight, bringing you live coverage of all of the action, and we are in for an absolute treat tonight. We had the EU version earlier on tonight, and this is certainly bound to be another one. Anyway, here we go then, straight into the action. We do things a little bit earlier here with the US lot. Monza is underway then as Harry Wills takes the pole position ahead of Dean Timms. Dan Tenorio in third position with Kai DL at the back of the Pro Grid. Akraf El Haddad is leading off the Pro-Ams alongside Justin Delano, Chase Wilson along with John Trainer. Then it's going to be Gary Brown on row 3 alongside Justin Bustow, and then 7th place is Eric Kulaga, Stephen Martinez in 8th, Michael Kulaga in 9th, and Richard Rosado in 10th position. For the Pro-Ams, it's Jeremy Littleton in P11, Andrew Hewson in 12th position. Michael Feiler is going to lead off the Pro-Ams with Braden Mailing. You've then got Andrew Hewitt, Matthew Plaisance, John Casey, Rick Swan on row 3. Row 4 is Ethan Swan and Charles Bichelle. It is a much smaller grid than what we had in the EU outfit, but it's going to be a fun race nonetheless. 24 cars going to be taking to the grid, so let's head down trackside to watch the cars getting their way through. Let's have a very quick look at the pro standings then. Ryan Kaprowski 3 points ahead of the rest of the field just now, and you can see there that Dean Timms as well just shortly behind. So you can see just 4 cars there making a way through into the start of that, and coming around the final corner, and just the way to get started here. So what we'll do is, we've got a little bit of an audio problem. What we'll do is we'll let the cars get started, we'll give them a lap or so, and then we will fix the engine audio issue, and then you'll be able to hear everything trackside. But it's Harry Wills, Dean Timms, Dan Tenorio and Kai DL. Remember, it's not the normal start procedure that you get in iRacing. The cars have to wait until they get to the aforementioned restart zone down to the bottom here, just beside the start finish line. And there we go then. It's a twisted 1, 2, 3, 4 coming down the road then. And you can see here that Kai DL at the back of that group there, desperately trying to make things work here. And there we go. So they're down into turn 1. Let's go and turn our attention then to Justin Delano in the Pro-Am field. Akraf El Haddad, excuse me, going to be leading things off. Now it's seeming like Justin Delano then leading that little group off, but they're all the way down towards the first corner here. And away in they go. Looks like everyone's got round safely. Stephen Martinez and Eric Kulaga having a little bit of a fight here. Here comes Michael Feiler leading off the AM group as well, as they make their way down in towards turn 1. And everyone safely down. Braden Mailing, Matthew Plaisance, Andrew Hewitt, John Casey, Rick Swan down there as well. So while they get that sorted, we'll quickly fix this audio issue and we'll be right back. The sweet sound of success. We are fixed and sorted. So let's head back to the live track action then. So let's get caught up with what we've got, because we've got a battle for the lead here in Pro just now. It's Harry Wills and Dean Timms fighting out side by side as they come out of that corner there. They get underway, And again, it's difficult to see how this is going to be anything like we're going to see in the rest of the field. AMS, however, are absolutely kicking off. You can see Braden Mailing here, Matthew Plaisance, Michael Fowler, all giving it the big licks as they come down the back stretch here. And again, this is going to be absolutely fascinating to see how this is all going to unfold. Certainly at the EU version of this, it was very, very interesting because there was a lot of chaos in the second race. The first race was actually very well behaved at the early stages of this race. Down through that first corner, then you can see the cars absolutely nose to tail here for the pros. Then Harry Wills ahead of Dean Timms, Kai DL and Dan Tenorio. Oh, and that's a huge mistake there from Harry Wills there, coming out of that chicane, and it's good night to Dan Kai DL even. What the hell just happened there? These are all supposed to be teammates, and Kai DL definitely got the short straw of that one there. I think that he ended up a little bit of contact there, ran into the back of Harry Wills onto the grass there, and that is all she wrote. Meanwhile, Andrew Hewitt has had a monstrous moment as well. There's been a crash involving him. So yeah, it's safe to say that this is certainly a more unusual start to the races here. Side by side, you can see Harry Wills and Dan Tenorio still fighting out Kai DL into pit lane. He'll be almost certainly retiring from the race with that damage that he's got on there. It's still Justin Delano in the lead of the Pro-Ams, ahead of Akraf El Haddad, John Traynor, Chase Wilson, Gary Brown, Justin Rustow, Stephen Martinez, Michael Kulaga and Jeremy Littleton all rounding out the top 10. You can see Jeremy Littleton here going to go side by side. Michael Kalaga on the inside there, a little bit of a lock up onto the brakes, and that is what ends up costing that position there. Let's go back to the AM battle then. Braden Mailing ahead of Michael Fowler and Matthew Plaisance. They've got a cracking little lead actually, Michael Fowler and Braden Mailing, 4.2 seconds over Matthew Plaisance right now. However, Dean Timms coming under attack again. Harry Wills still side by side. I tell you what, who needs enemies when you've got teammates like this? Harry Wills back into the lead of the race, but he is throwing, and I literally mean throwing, that car around. Let's double check then. Let's bring ourselves up to speed then with the pro standings. As we said, Ryan Kaprowski in the lead of the Pro Championship right now, but not here tonight. So Harry Wills, as it stands, would take the lead of the Pro Championship with the fact that he is in the lead of the race, barring him actually getting any penalties for whatever that was that just happened here. But Dean Timms going to be right on to the back of them as well. Eric Kalaga has had a bit of a moment as well. He's down to the back of Pro-Am. So let's check out what's happened to him then. Is he going to get caught up in somebody else's accident? Oh, we've seen this, right? We will see this time and time again, where the weight transfer of the car through that second right-hander there just absolutely catches the car out. However, we've got a fight for the lead here in the AM class then. Braden Mailing coming under huge pressure here from Michael Fowler then, coming up to the Parabolica for the, what's this, the third time of asking. We're about to start lap 3 here for the AM class, and it's a tighter line from Fowler. This is going to be interesting because Fowler is actually going to have the run here. I think he's going to have a better line coming out of that final corner here. You can see in the background as well Matthew Plaisance and John Casey. But either way, it's still side by side with your AM leaders down onto the brakes into turn 1, and thankfully they're thinking better of it. So the Pro-Am battle has completely opened up. It's still Justin Delano ahead of Achraf El Haddad. 1.4 seconds is the gap between the front two as they come through the Ascari chicane onto that back stretch, then onto that long back stretch coming up to the Parabolica, that final right-hander here. Dean Timms under huge pressure from Dan Tenorio there already into the first chicane. That was a great move there by Tenorio. He wants to get that position back and look at Harry Wills. Harry Wills somehow manages to make a meal out of every position he gets. He just overdrives the car, and what looks like a really strong position for him ends up being a very hard fought defeat for Harry Wills somehow. I hope he doesn't think I'm being too harsh for saying that, but certainly the results of this would kind of prove that, as Wills tries to go around the outside into the first chicane. And Dean Timms is in this as well, and you just know somebody's going to end up going into the barrier here. It's just the unfortunate nature of this little fight here, a 25 minutes fight that we've got going on for the first race. We've got a change for the lead then, Braden Mailing and Michael Fowler. This is the battle for Ahmed. Can Fowler get it back? Braden Mailing still holding on though, and keeping on to the lead of the race. So that was actually, you know, going side by side coming down that back stretch. What they're going to have to watch out for is Mackie Plaisance now 4.2 seconds back, but this is a very heavy momentum based track there. If they do start fighting, that gap will come down very quickly. Back up, we'll go to the Pro-Ams actually, because we've got a little bit of action here between Gary Brown and Chase Wilson. That was a position taken for Gary Brown, and meanwhile we've still got fighting going on here between your pro leaders right now. This is epic stuff. Dan Tenorio and Harry Wills having a little bit of a shoulder bump between each other here. The thing is, they're all in voice chat with each other, so you can absolutely bet they're laughing like hyenas at what is going on here. And you're kidding me, is that Dean Timms trying to nudge them apart, making it 3 wide, as you do? Right, into the first chicane, Harry Wills gets the outside line. That was superb. That was absolutely superb from Harry Wills. Went right round the outside there and got that position, but he's going to have to watch back because Tenorio's going to have the cutback. He's going to have that run out of the seconds of the corners there, down into that first chicane. It's going to be really great, isn't it? I just have to hold my breath watching these two. This is how it should be, to be fair, but it never ends like this. It ends up with one of them going across the curb and chopping each other up here. However, back with Braden Mailing, still ahead of Michael Fowler then, as we head into lap number 5 for these guys. Fowler not close enough to even think about making a move here. He can't move out, but it's going to be late into the breaks then. We're almost up to halfway through our first race already. God knows where that's gone. But a thrilling race nonetheless. Dan Tenorio and Harry Wills side by side. Wills on the inside coming through the Variante Ascari then, as Tenorio's going to try and get the better exit here. Now the man in the pound seat right now, Dean Timms, he's going to have double boost here. He's going to have the boost of the Porsche and of the Mercedes AMG, and the Porsche moves out to the left hand side. We're going to be side by side coming into that final Parabolica. Honestly, I just don't know where to look with this. It's absolutely nuts. It's like an exhibition race with these three. Check in with Braden Mailing, that's still going on. We've also got this fight with Mackie Plaisance and John Casey. I get a horrible feeling we're about to go 3 wide down the main straight, aren't we? These boys never fail to entertain. So, Dan Tenorio taking a leaf out of Harry Wills' book there, going round the outside and doing exactly the same move that Harry Wills just did that last lap round there. Fantastic stuff. Chase Wilson just ahead of Justin Risto. This is the battle for P4 in Pro-Am right now. And again, let's have a quick look at how the Pro-Am standings are shaping up just now, because they are looking very interesting indeed. And there we go, Chase Wilson then actually in front of the pack. Justin Delano taking some much needed points from tonight, and Achraf El Haddad as well. So Chase really needs to get himself up through these positions much quicker than he's doing right now. Jeremy Littleton fighting it out with Andrew Hewson as well. we've got this battle here for the AMs as well. Michael Fowler currently leading the championship, Braden Mailing just 6 points behind, so this is an absolutely pivotal fight that we've got going on here for the AM Championship. We'll keep our eye on that and make sure that we don't miss anything, but there's honestly 3 different fights going on. Dan Tenorio coming under real pressure here from Dean Timms, coming down this back stretch here. On the brakes into the Parabolica. Let's have a look at Justin Delano. He's now just a second ahead of Akraf El Haddad there. And Gary Brown just 0.2 of a second ahead of Chase Wilson. Is Wilson going to have a look up the inside? Now, if they're smart, they're going to work together to try and get themselves up to this lead battle here. But here's back to the AM battle then. Braden Mailing against Michael Fowler. As we said, this is for the championship. You get some excellent points here for Braden Mailing, and that will massively take the advantage down. I think it takes the points difference down to about 5 points between the 3 of them. Dan Tenorio here coming through the 3rd corner, loses out a little bit of time. I think that might have been a slow down penalty. Harry Wills still in the lead by 0.2 of a second from Dean Timms and Dan Tenorio. Here's your fight for P3 in Pro-Am. Beautiful little cut back there from Chase Wilson. They're going to be side by side as they come into the first of the Lesmos, and that is going to be the move done and dusted. Lamborghini drifts a little bit wide, and I don't think the Porsche is going to be able to get the cut back. However, we've now got a fight on for the lead of Pro-Am as well, because that gap is now just 0.5 of a second. So somehow all this pace coming from Akraf El Haddad, that's closing up as well as this fight here between Braden Mailing and Michael Fowler as well. So we're going to have eyes in the back of our heads just to try and keep up with everything that is going on right now. But we're 14.5 minutes into a 25-minute race here, and you can see now Akraf El Haddad well and truly onto the tail end there of Justin Delano, locked on to the tail end of that car. And you can see Eric Kulaga having to fight for position there with Richard Rosado. And I wonder if this is it. We've got Justin Delano come down that start-finish straight there. Akraf El Haddad, and Harry Wills somehow loses out again to Dean Timms. So this fight's still going on. Of course it is. Braden Mailing, meanwhile, and Michael Fowler coming out of that final corner. Now this is really important for Fowler because he needs to get a good run out of here and potentially into the slipstream of that car in front. But at the front of the pros, it's still Dean Timms from Harry Wills and Dan Tenorio. We'll come back to that in just a second. It's not going to be a move for Michael Fowler, however, going into that first corner. We're starting to see some little gaps appearing. Back to that pro battle. This is thrilling stuff. Honestly, I've never seen a race like this. This is absolutely nuts, where we've only got 3 cars, but they're all just knocking lumps out of each other. Figuratively, obviously. Although for Kai DL, he might be thinking that the former is actually true on that one. And the gap opening up between Braden Mailing and Michael Fowler right now, that's now 0.4 of a second, so that's gone up very, very slightly indeed, as has the gap between Justin Delano and Akraf El Haddad. There's a bit of a mistake there from El Haddad that cost him there. Look at this, Harry Wills now onto the back of Dean Timms here as they come down the start-finish straight here on lap number 9. And what is Wills going to try and do? Is he going to try and put it around the outside? Surely he can't. Surely he doesn't have the pace. Keeps on the inside. Job done. What a move. However, the BMW gets a much better run out of that, and that leaves Harry Wills very vulnerable to the car behind here. In fact, Dan Tenorio takes that P2. Will happily snarf that one straight up here. through the parabolica then for Braden Mailing and Michael Fowler. This battle's still going on. I do wonder if Fowler's maybe just waiting his time, maybe just posing a question to himself. Coming down the start-finish straight here then, this is possibly going to be it for Michael Fowler. He thinks about it. Again, it just doesn't do anything with that touch right back in. And he isn't going anywhere with that right now. So as it stands with just 8 minutes left to go, it's Dean Timms from Dan Tenorio and Harry Wills in the Pro class. Justin Delano ahead of Akraf El Haddad and Chase Wilson. That is your Pro-Am class. And Braden Mailing is ahead of Michael Fowler and Matthew Plaisance just now. That is your Am class just now. It does look like things starting to ease off a little bit here. Did I say ease off? Sorry, I meant just get started here, because here comes Dan Tenorio onto the back of Dean Timms then, and here comes Harry Wills again. Is it going to be 3 wide? It's almost 3 wide, but it can't quite happen. Harry Wills wasn't close enough to be alongside there, but he is now. Takes that cutback. What a move up the inside of Dean Timms. I tell you what, they are having an absolute ball right now. They are going to be absolutely laughing themselves silly with the stuff that's going on here. We've got Steven Martinez fighting it out with Justin Littleton Jeremy Littleton, excuse me, takes the position, and that is like taking candy from a baby, I'm afraid, on that one. Meanwhile, here comes Michael Fowler onto the back of Braden Mailing. Now, we've seen this time and time again. The question is when. When are we going to see a move here? He's got the run. He's got all the pace, but he'll just slow down earlier and just not have any of it. So there we go. Right, what has happened to Dean Timms? Dean Timms has botched it. With 5 minutes left to go, Dean Timms is the first one to blink there. Let's have a look here. It looks like it's into the second Lesmo. Yeah, so he just went very, very wide there off the track, and he'll be getting a slowdown for that as well. He drops down now to about 8 seconds behind this battle. Make that, no, nowhere near that actually, it's 1.6. The two of them are waiting for him. I don't believe this. This is amazing. Oh, I love it. You don't get this on any other league. The pros are literally that fast that they're just having a muck about with each other right now. So he lost about maybe 2 seconds out of that. However, these two still fighting it out side by side mean that he'll be onto the tail end there very, very quickly. And what has happened to Akraf El Haddad? That gap has gone up now 1.4 seconds. So that is not happening for Akraf El Haddad. Dan Tenorio, meanwhile, in the lead of Harry Wills with just 4.5 minutes left to go in this first race of 2 here at Monza, the Temple of Speed, living up to its name. Braden Mailing for ERS by Skyline Design in the lead of Am, however. Michael Fowler again just happy to sit and play second fiddle right now. Is it going to be now or never though for Michael Fowler? We've only got 2 laps left to go here. That gap now closer than it's ever been. Here we go. The pin has been pulled from Michael Fowler. They're side by side coming down into the first chicane then, and it looks like surely it's going to be Fowler's for the taking. It goes in deep though, and that allows Braden Mailing to try and get a better exit. He does, and the BMW still pulls alongside. Akraf El Haddad has crashed out. He is down into 3rd position now. Let's keep an eye though on this Am battle, because it's been sizzling away nicely for the majority of this 20 minutes here, and it's now just started to boil over. Braden Mailing side by side with Michael Fowler, pulls in late on the brakes there. Oh, and Michael Fowler makes a mistake into the chicane there. That means that he ends up going back, and that surely is going to hand that victory on a plate to Braden Mailing. Dan Tenorio though just ahead of Harry Wills side by side coming out of the parabolica. We've got 3 minutes left to go here. This is just barmy, absolutely barmy stuff. Dan Tenorio still in the lead. That Porsche power just rocketing through right now. And there we go. Beautiful, beautiful stuff there from Dan Tenorio to hold on to that position. That also brings Dean Timms back into the mix here. Just 0.8 of a second there behind that little battle. Meanwhile, in the Pro-Ams, you've still got Stephen Martinez just in front of Andrew Hewson. Hewson has a little look up the inside. It's going to be late on the brakes for Hewson in that BMW. Pulls the car in. Tries to get it done. He's going to have to watch out because he's still got Martinez on the inside, but that is a good move there, a very brave move there from Andrew Hewson to get that done. Back with your pro leaders, then we're going to have one lap to go after this one. And it does look like that gap opening up now. 1.2 seconds between Braden Mailing and Michael Fowler now. So that gap is starting to eke out a little bit more than it already was. So it's looking like this is pretty much how it's going to be. We'll see what happens with Harry Wills. We know Harry Wills won't settle for second position. If he's got a chance of taking the win, he'll absolutely go for that that race win. But Justin Delano in the lead of this race by about 6 seconds. He's looking very, very comfortable at the front of the Pro-Ams right now. Here we go then, final lap. The white flag is going to fly as Harry Wills onto the back of Dan Tenorio. It's going to be late into the brakes then into turn 1. Isn't going to make anything of it here, but can he get that Mercedes stopped in time? Here comes Dean Timms as well. Let's have a look at Justin Delano here. In the lead, 6 seconds ahead of Chase Wilson and another half a second ahead of Gary Brown, who is catching hand over fist onto the back end of Chase Wilson here. Let's have a look at Braden Mailing though, 0.6 of a second. Michael Fowler starting to catch up very, very quickly, so that could be something to watch out for towards the end of the race as well. Matthew Plaisant's down in P3 right now, but it's the final lap here of the first race of the evening. 25 minutes have come and gone, and my goodness me, this has been awesome stuff to watch. Harry Wills firmly onto the tail end of that car, that Porsche of Dean Timms right now, of Dan Tenorio, excuse me. Gets a really good run out of that Ascari chicane. This is it. This is absolutely going to be it. Harry Wills and Dan Tenorio side by side coming down this back stretch here into the Parabolica for the final time. Is Wills going to try and sweep round the outside? I think he's just going to get a little bit of a hip check there. Tries to keep the foot in. He's going to come back. A little bit of contact there with Dan Tenorio, and that is surely going to hand the win to Dan Tenorio. Just 1/10 of a second, and it's Dan Tenorio that takes the win from Harry Wills. Dean Timms is going to take third position. Let's head back to Pro-Ams then, and it's going to be a fantastic win, a dominant win there for Justin Delano ahead of Chase Wilson. Akraf El Haddad is going to take third position there as Gary Brown crashes on the final corner. You hate to see it. Braden Mailing though possibly going to hold on to this. I'm not sure how that is happening, because there is Michael Fowler going to be round the outside of the final corner. You are kidding me. You have to be kidding me. That Merc has no right being there, but he keeps the foot in, and it's still going to be the BMW though that gets the drive out the corner, but it's going to be the run to the line. 1/10 of a second. It's going to be under 1/10 of a second. As cool, calm and as close as you like, but it's going to be a race win for Braden Mailing. Michael Fowler in second place. Matthew Plaisant in third. And oh my good lord, that was... How is that 25 minutes just gone already? Absolutely incredible stuff there. We're just waiting on the final couple of cars making their way over the line. We're waiting on Andrew Hewitt, Ethan Swan and Charles Bichelle to come across the line. But that was an amazing race. Really did enjoy that. So the final cars coming over the line, so let's get the results. Dan Tenorio taking the pro win there from Dean Timms. Harry Wills in third position. Kai DL finishes in P4. And I think it's safe to say he's going to be very, very happy with that one. Kai DL obviously, yeah, well, maybe not finishing as high as he'd like after that contact. Moving on to the Pro-Ams, we'll glaze on by. Justin Delano taking the race win ahead of Chase Wilson, Achraf El Haddad in third position, Justin Rousseau in fourth, Jeremy Littleton in fifth, Gary Brown in sixth, it's Andrew Hewson in seventh, Stephen Martinez in eighth, Michael Kalaga in ninth, John Traynor in 10th and Eric Kalaga in 11th, and not finishing Richard Rosado after that incident earlier on, 4 laps from the end. Moving on to the AMS then, and it's going to be Braden Mailing, Michael Fowler, Matthew Plaisance. That is your podium, your 1, 2, 3 for the first race. And John Casey taking P4, Rick Swan in 5th position, Andrew Hewitt in 6th, Ethan Swan in 7th, and Charles Bichelle rounding out the field in 8th position. So there we go, that is us already got a race underway. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a very short commercial break. When we come back, we'll have more action from race 2, 50-minute race here at Monza.
remove your feet.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, then to race number 2 here from Monza. We've got a very, very interesting prospect for you coming up very shortly. 50-minute race here. A smaller grid than what we had in the EU, and it's just myself, Dave Christie, here on commentary with you tonight, bringing you all of the action. It's sun setting here in the virtual recreation of Monza, which means that the track is starting to cool down, and that means that the tyres are going to get a little bit more wear and tear on them as well. What a race we had there for race number 1. It was absolutely fantastic, had everything that we could possibly want in a race, and I'll be very, very interested to speak to some of the drivers after our next race coming up. We'll certainly spend a couple of minutes and have a chat with whoever we get into our voice chat afterwards. But as we said, a minute and a half left to go here on the warm-up session for our second race here at Monza. Now the pros, obviously we had 4 cars that were out there. Kai DL is going to be looking to make amends after that rather awkward first outing here tonight. The Pro-Ams as well are going to be looking to have another go at that one as well, with the likes of Steve Martinez, John Trainer. They're going to be out again. John Casey and Ethan Swan are going to be returning to the track as well in the AM class, as well as the likes of Braden Mailing. Now we saw Braden involved in that epic fight in race 1, fighting with Michael Fowler, so fingers crossed we get more of that. Remember, we've got the reverse grid that we've got to deal with as well. But my goodness me, I hope you're ready, because I certainly am for more hijinks. 50 minutes, mandatory pit stop. What we saw from the EU race means that the pit stop will likely come towards the end of the session, towards the end of the race, so 35 minutes, 40 minutes onwards. That's kinda when they'll be looking to try and make the most of the pit stops. But don't be surprised to see a couple of early stragglers making their way in, within the first 15-20 minutes. Certainly if there's any issues, any contact or anything like that, you're going to want to get rid of that sooner rather than later. Get the car fixed up and potentially get yourself some important points, because that's what it all comes down to tonight, is those all important championship points. But the warm-up is done and dusted. We are about to head down to the track. So let's check out our grid for the second race of the evening then. Harry Wills on pole position alongside Dean Timms. Dan Tenorio in 3rd position, with Jonathan Ouellette is in 4th position now. I'll double check that one, because we obviously had now who else do we have? So it looks like we don't have Kai DL taking part in this second race. That's a shame. We've got John Trainer though. He'll be taking pole position alongside Michael Kulaga. Steve Martinez and Andrew Hewson are going to be on the grid as well. Gary Brown and Jeremy Littleton on row 3. Row 4, Justin Rustow and Akraf El Haddad after that disappointing first race there. Chase Wilson is going to be on row 5 with Justin Delano, Eric Kulaga and Richard Rosado on row 6 for the Pro-Ams. And then on to the AMS itself, Charles Bushell is going to be leading the AMS off with Ethan Swan. You've then got Andrew Hewitt, Rick Swan, John Casey, Matthew Plaisance. Braden Mailing is going to be in 8th position. So that is who we've got for the AM class as well. Now the question is how long can this pro group stay together? That is the big question for me. We've now got an extra Porsche coming out to play, and that is Dean Timms and Jonathan Ouellette at the back. You can see Harry Wills there in the Merc, and the BMW of Dean Timms is going to be alongside as well. Here's the Merc leading of the Pro-Ams. That's John Trainer behind the wheel of that one. We'll keep an eye on this as the lead cars come round to the Parabolica then for the first time of Askin, and we get ready to go live. Race number 2 about to get underway here for the IMB WSL GT3 Season 4 Round 7 here at Monza, the 50-minute feature race. It's going to be Harry Wills in front and in charge of the crowds. Away we go, let's go racing then. As they all come piling down then into turn 1 for the first time of asking. It's Wills from Timms, from Tenorio, from Jonathan Ouellette, and they all make their way safely out. Let's check in with the Pro-Ams then, as John Trainer and Michael Kulaga about to lead the cars across the line. We get underway racing here. It's almost 3 abreast coming across the start finish line here, but it is going to be Trainer, Kulaga, Martinez and Houston all behind there, and you can see already some early moves going early on as Approx Haddad makes his way up through there. Justin Delano ends up losing a position. Let's check the AMS then. Charles Bichelle in the pole for the AMS ahead of Ethan Swan and Andrew Hewitt there on the way down to turn 1 just now, and again a very orderly affair there. You can see side by side Hewitt and Swan. Let's see how they all make it through here. And indeed, through turn 1, all actually survived. I'm very, very impressed after Phil Haddad taking a bit position there from Justin Rusto. Want to try and get that position back here, but again, that's not going to be happening. Tenorio onto the tail end of this group here already. Half a second of a gap there to Harry Wills. Dean Timms, he's got Jonathan Ouellette right on his tail there. Chase Wilson trying to make a move here on Justin Rusto. Justin Rusto's got a slowdown penalty. He's going to be losing quite a few positions here at such an early stage of this race. He goes all the way down to last position in the class here. Charles Bichelle is away out in front though, almost a second lead he's got in the AMS right now, ahead of Andrew Hewitt and Ethan Swan. Matthew Plaisance down there in 5th position in the AM class right now, trying to catch on to the back of Rick Swan, but it's not happening. Side by side though, back with the pros. Start as you mean to go on with these lot, as that's Jonathan Ouellette taking a position from Dan Tenorio, except not quite, because the two of them kind of tripping each other up here. Andrew Houston is going side by side with Gary Brown out that final corner here. There's almost contact. There is contact. That is definitely contact. There's nothing almost maybe about it. Gary Brown and Andrew Houston coming side by side and almost into contact here. You've got Jeremy Littleton as well. He wants to get a piece of this. You've also got Approx Haddad. He wants to get a piece of this as well. So this is getting very, very messy here just now. But the BMW just decides to run all the way around the outside of the Porsche, and that is cool, calm, clean and collected as you like. Meanwhile, for the lead of the AM battle here is Andrew Hewitt and Charles Bichelle. Is the battle of the late breakers down into turn 1. Hewitt breaks the latest and goes into the lead of the AMS then. Charles Bichelle loses out that initial pole position and is down into 2nd place, perhaps unsurprisingly, with the performances that Andrew Hewitt has put in earlier on this season. But it's Ethan Swan in 3rd, Matthew Plaisance in 4th, Rick Swan in 5th, Braden Mailing in 6th, trying to make a recovery drive here all the way through the field. Michael Fowler in 7th, and then at the back of the field you've got John Casey as well. Justin Delano trying to make a move side by side with Approx Haddad then. He's trying to make his way through on this group as well, and that looks to be a fairly comfortable position there. Justin Delano actually dropping back a little bit as well. There's that fight with Ethan Swan. This is for the final podium position. We're only 4 minutes into the race, and this is going to be coming down to Variante Ascari here. Late on the brakes there for Matthew Plaisance, pulls the car in, not quite late enough there, as Ethan Swan just able to take that car and really wring the Audi's neck there, but that's a much better exit there. And from the Porsche of Matthew Plaisance, tries to go onto the back end there, and I think actually pulling out a little bit too early there. We see 3 wide down start from straight, because of course you're going to do that, as we see Gary Brown, Jeremy Littleton and Andrew Houston all fighting it out for position. Gary Brown goes up the inside there. There's contact. That was a big hit there from Gary Brown onto Jeremy Littleton. Has to force and give up that position there. You've got the BMW, Andrew Houston trying to make a nuisance of himself as well there, but that was a big hit from Gary Brown onto that Ferrari there, and I wonder if there's going to be any steering damage to that car in front there, as Andrew Houston and that Porsche still side by side, late onto the brakes, and Gary Brown just pulls out. Gary Brown's day is done and dusted. He's going to be retiring from this race. Yep, pulls to one side, and that is an Alt F4 if ever I saw one. A little bit further down though, you've got Achraf El Haddad just ahead of Chase Wilson. You've then got Justin Delano into the back of this as well. Meanwhile, back at the pros, you've got Dan Tenorio. 1/10 of a second ahead of Jonathan Ouellette. And again, you've got all these little battles kicking off here. Back to the AMS though, because you've got Rick Swan ahead of Brain Mailing and Michael Fowler as well. Now this is way more intense than we saw into the EU race for sure, and we had probably about 20 more cars in the EU race than we did on this one, but it's a twisted 4 and 5 there, as you've got Jeremy Littleton and Achraf El Haddad as well, and El Haddad gets caught out there. Chase Wilson around Parabolica, and Andrew Houston fancies having a little piece of this as well. Houston is bump drafting after Achraf El Haddad here. Houston is bumping Chase Wilson. So this is fascinating stuff here. Side by side coming out of that first chicane, then it's Chase Wilson up the inside of Andrew Houston, tries to get that position. Houston tries to lean on that Lamborghini on the inside, but he's having absolutely none of it, because here comes Justin Delano as well as they come onto the brakes for the chicane. BMW goes way too hot, forces the Lamborghini to take an emergency exit there. An emergency manoeuvre was the word I was going to be looking for there, but it didn't quite work out that way. Meanwhile, back with the lead of the AM race, then check out Andrew Hewitt and Matthew Plaisance. It's a little bit of a dive to the outside there for Matthew Plaisance. It's the same as what we saw in race 1 then. Plaisance onto the back of Hewitt. Here comes Ethan Swan as well. Here comes Charles Bichelle as well, although Charles Bichelle starting to fall backwards at a rate of knots here. Almost side by side then, coming into Ascari then, and it's going to be Hewitt and Plaisance, and Matthew Plaisance just can't quite do it. There's contact, and Andrew Hewitt gets sent spinning sideways and off into the gravel, and Andrew Hewitt is onto his roof. Charles Bichelle clips him as well, and you hate to see it. You hate to see it. Michael Fowler is also gone as well. So let's see what the hell just absolutely happened there. That was horrible to see there. Oh, so Michael Fowler had a completely separate incident here. Completely separate to what we saw with Andrew Hewitt. So Andrew Hewitt spins the back tyres there, ends up going punted by Charles Bichelle, who had absolutely nowhere to go, and then into the wall, and unfortunately Charles Bichelle collects him again, and eventually rights that car there. Let's see if we can try and get that on board then with Charles Bichelle, and we'll go on boards. Oh, that is not a pleasant sight. You hate to see it. You really hate to see it. But Charles Bichelle's race is over. It's done and it's dusted. That car is going to be out of the race. Meanwhile, back in the AMS then, Brian Mailing gets ahead of John Casey. There's almost a little bit of contact there as the Ferrari of John Casey gets behind Brian Mailing. You've also got Rick Swan here trying to catch up with this now. So it's Matthew Plaisance in the lead of this AM battle as well. You've also got Ethan Swan ahead of Rick Swan as well. So they two have come together. So let's check out what happened here then. Now this is on the run down to turn 1. We've got the Audi side by side with the Porsche. And that's just a little bit of both the cars being far too polite and tripping over each other, unfortunately. John Traynor still in the lead of the Pro-Ams ahead of Stephen Martinez. Now Martinez is having to fight off Michael Kulaga here. And doing a fairly good job of that just now. However, here comes Casey onto the back of Brian Mayling. Mayling gets a slow down penalty coming into that first chicane there. You can tell that because obviously he's lost several positions from where he was right now, but also up in the leads of the overall standings, it's Harry Wills ahead by 0.7 of a second ahead of Dean Timms and Dan Tenorio. You can see him triggering that the pit in line, which is enough to suggest to the timing tower that he's coming into the pits, but obviously he is not coming into the pits. But the two of them have got a significant gap now over Dan Tenorio and Jonathan Ouellette. The fight between Rick Swan and Ethan Swan still goes on. Brian Mayling wants a piece of this. John Casey wants a piece of this as well, and that was late into the chicane for the BMW of Brian Mayling. He now has John Casey all over the back ends here right now. And we've got coming down the start finish straight there, Justin Delano side by side with Jeremy Littleton. You've also got Eric Kulaga and Justin Rustow fighting it out here. And coming through the final corner, there is Ethan Swan and Michael John Casey. And John Casey gets that position. So he will be fairly happy with that one. On the brakes in turn 1 then, and there you go, Chase Wilson has exited stage left. Now what happened there with Chase Wilson, because he comes flying back onto the track there. Now was that completely unassisted? I think he possibly just tried to get a little bit too greedy on the throttle through the chicane here. Oh yeah, he did, and he went straight into the back of the car just in front of him. So that was never ever going to work here. Dean Timms now is about a second behind Harry Wills here, as we've got 12 minutes gone in this second race of the evening. We've got 20 cars remaining with us on this race. A little bit further down you can see Braden Mayling fighting for this championship, just 0.3 of a second behind Rick Swan now. This is a fight for second position here, and again a very crucial point that he is going to be trying to take here. They're going to be side by side, and I get the feeling that Braden Mayling is going to be making very short work here of Rick Swan, who's well within his rights to defend this position here. But again, Braden Mayling hasn't got himself into the position in the championship by being a reserved and careful driver. He pops that car straight up there and takes that P2 then from Rick Swan here. So it's place on Mayling and Swan. That's your 1, 2, 3 in the AM class. Pro-Ams is John Traynor, Stephen Martinez, Michael Kulaga, and then in the pros as well, it's Harry Wills, Dean Timms and Dan Tenorio. So out of the final corner comes Michael Kulaga. You can see Justin Delano right in his tail as well. You've also got Akraf El Haddad in the background onto the back of Justin Delano. El Haddad tries to go around the outside. Let's see if that's worked. I don't think that is going to work. No, it's not, because Justin Delano holds on to that position. However, Michael Kulaga here almost definitely going to be going side by side here with Steve Martinez. Martinez going to go the long way round into this fourth corner here for Vulture Motorsports. Now, the two of them being teammates should mean that they're going to think better of it. And Harry Wills side by side, and that was contact with Dean Timms there. Just caught that in the background there. It looked like it was late on the brakes for Dean Timms, and that's going to be a slowdown penalty. Indeed, he moves over to the side, so now Harry Wills 1.6 seconds ahead of the rest of his team. So we switch back to the AM battle then. Matthew Plaisance ahead of Braden Mailing and Rick Swan. John Casey currently in P4 right now with Ethan Swan. So this gap has just completely opened itself up now. You've got Rick Swan is about half a second ahead of John Casey, and then you've got Michael Fowler who is half a second behind Ethan Swan right now. That's the closest little battles that you've got in the AM battle. However, in the Pro battle, oh my goodness me, this is awesome. Michael Kulaga ahead of Steve Martinez, Justin Delano and Akraf El Haddad, all with 17.5 minutes gone in the race, all within about a second and a half of each other right now. So these four cars are just properly setting the pace right now. It's brilliant stuff to see. Dan Tenorio just ahead of Dean Timms by about 0.4 of a second right now. So they're coming down towards the Ascari chicane as we're still watching Michael Kulaga here. And Eric Kulaga down in P10. It's safe to say that it's not exactly been a day to write home about for Eric Kulaga. Onto the back of Richard Rosado here though. Could be able to make amends and try and get that position back here as Michael Fowler into pit lane. And has done what can only probably be described as a stop go. That's the only thing I can think of. However, here comes Harry Wills. Harry Wills set to put a lap on Michael Fowler already. Oh, this is getting a bit sketchy now. Dan Tenorio and Dean Timms right up to the back end of that car right now. Jonathan Ouellette still on the back of that train as well, so it's going to be a 4-car fight for the lead here as Michael Fowler is just precariously poised to be put a lap down here. Impressive display from the Twisted Racing team, you've got to say, in that that Pro class right now. John Traynor though in the lead of Michael Kulaga. I was going to say Eric Kulaga, but Michael Kulaga by 1.3 seconds. Gap come down very slightly, but I don't know by how quickly it is. You've got a 4-car battle for second place right now, but again, this is what we saw in the EU battle as well, is the fact that You know, the gaps come down so very quickly, meaning that we have battles all the way through the shop here. Justin Delano fighting it out with Michael Kulaga, takes a move up the inside, and that is going to be a position there for Justin Delano. Martinez is going to try and get the move, but again, could be some team orders here. Just thinking better of trying to fight things out here, as you see Dan Tenorio weaving to the outside there ahead of Harry Wills. This is madness. Teams, you know, just properly setting in about each other here. Harry Wills takes the inside line, compromises himself on the exit of the chicane here. And again, the Twisted Racing team drivers 1, 2, 3 and 4 in this pro class. This is just amazing stuff to watch. In fact, let's go on board for a little bit with Jonathan Ouellette and watch all this unfold. My goodness me, what action we're getting right now, because it's all kicking off as Stephen Martinez is in the wall. We were busy watching the pros here, and Stephen Martinez has put the car into the wall, and it's exactly the same place I said to you right at the start of the broadcast. We're going to see quite a few instances here. We saw it in the race 1 and we saw it in the European battle as well. It's just getting that wheel onto the grass on the left hand side there, and that's all she wrote with that one. Back to the pros though. Harry Wills still ahead of this just gaggle of cars right now. I don't even know how to describe this. Dan Tenorio, Jonathan Ouellette and Dean Thames 1, 2, 3 and 4 right now. You've got John Traynor coming in P3. He's trying to get that position from Michael Kulaga, who is just ahead of him as well, trying to get P2 right now. And this is just nuttiness left, right and centre. Braden Mailing is about 2 seconds behind this little fight here. Here we go then into turn 1 for your Pro-Am class right now. Justin Delano 7/10 of a second ahead of Michael Kulaga, and John Traynor ahead of Achraf El Haddad. We're coming up to the halfway point in the race here. All coming out of Scary, and again it's just a case of honestly doing the commentary and doing the race production is so much fun on nights like this, because you just don't know where to look. There's just so much action, and obviously I've got to try and catch all of it. Thankfully the AM class has just calmed down quite a lot. There's like 5 cars all beside each other, and they're at least 2 seconds apart from each other. However, they go side by side for the race win then. This is Dan Tenorio and Harry Wills, and remember this is before we even get to the pit stop strategy as well. So Tenorio takes the lead of Wills. Wills tries to go around the outside into turn 1. That's outrageous. How can Wills get such a good exit round that corner there? Holds on to it, but not quite enough. Dan Tenorio is bold and brave and takes that race lead from Harry Wills and Jonathan Ouellette. Eric Kulaga then side by side with Richard Rosado, and Rosado has to yield that position to the charging Lamborghini of Eric Kulaga right there. Back up the front though, it's 6/10 of a second between Justin Delano and Michael Kulaga in the lead of this race. Now remember, pit stops are going to be a factor there. Stephen Martinez has pitted away back on the last lap there, lap 12. So we're going to have to watch and see whether or not that is going to be a factor. This is going to be a factor. Harry Wills, public enemy number 1 right now, and did a grand job of holding on to that. Goes into the corner and just runs round the outside of Dan Tenorio like he's not even there. That is That is just disrespectful, that is, but a beautiful move. I mean, if I was capable of doing that, then I would absolutely do that. However, pulls to the left hand side, Dan Tenorio then going to be side by side coming through the Parabolica. Have a look at Jonathan Roulette, he's up from 4th position in this pro battle, up into 3rd position as well. Tenorio trying to hold on, but he's got Roulette fancying a go at this as well. I think Roulette might be going to get slipstream from Harry Wills, so Roulette almost certainly going to make this 3 wide, because why not? Down into the brakes then, Tenorio goes very, very late indeed, tries to keep his nose in, jumps over the curb, gets that position there. This is awesome. This is absolutely awesome stuff. Chase Wilson onto the back here of John Traynor and Jeremy Littleton. The fight's still going on with this pro battle. Every time I move away, there's like chaos. Absolute chaos is the only way I can describe this. Tenorio fires it up the inside into the first chicane here as Harry Wills gets a compromised exit. There you go, that is going to be Jonathan Roulette trying to take that position from Harry Wills. I think he might get it. Puts it on the inside there. Harry Wills tries to drive around the outside of him. Come on now. Come on now. Sort yourself out. That is just not right. I don't understand how Harry is able to do these things with the car that like normal human beings can't do. You can't drive that Merc round the outside of a Porsche. It shouldn't be allowed to do that. Brain Mailing is 0.2 of a second behind Matthew Plaisance right now, so this is a battle for the lead just now. And it's all come down again, these two in the same team, ERS by Skyline Designs. So it could be a little bit of team strategy here, back with your race leader though, Dan Tenorio, and Harry Wills still fighting it out here, coming into the final corner. Again, Harry Wills, why is he able to do that? Around the outside of Parabolica, that is insane. Gets the position. And this is just awesome stuff. We've hit the halfway mark in this race here, and I just don't know what is going to happen here. Back to Matthew Plaisance though, ahead of Brain Mailing. That gap just 0.4 of a second. John Casey currently in 3rd for the AM battle just now. Justin Zolano is 1.8 seconds ahead of Michael Kulaga, who's 0.2 of a second ahead of Achraf El Haddad. But here we go, out of the first chicane as you do, and it's still side by side with Dan Tenorio and Harry Wills, and what I would give to have a little bit of their radio communication right now, because they will just be having the time of their life fighting it out like this. Onto the curbing there, into the corner, and that is a huge move from Jonathan Roulette, who's just absolutely done them. Roulette has went through the 2 of them there, and Michael Kulaga has crashed out there. He's got going again, so let's see what happened to Michael Kulaga. Is it going to be late on the brakes here in turn 1? It is. It's just again a case of tripping up over the other car here. Right, so it's now Jonathan Roulette in the lead of the race ahead of Dan Tenorio and Harry Wills. Dean Timms in that P4 right now. Matthew Plaisance has jumped into pit lane. He's already done his pit stop, then he comes out of pit lane, and that's a very short stop, 14.12 seconds. So that's a brilliant stop there, as Michael Kulaga has John Traynor firmly on his sights just now. But this is where we said, this is where the pit stops are going to come in. They're going to have to be very, very, very careful here, because up the inside goes Dan Tenorio there, late onto the brakes there. Can he get it stopped in time? I think he will actually. It was a really, really good move up the inside, but they have to be really careful, because there's all these cars coming out of pit lane, and it can go from 0 to 0 very, very quickly indeed. 20 minutes left to go in this race. And honestly, I mean, you'll have to forgive me for spending an inordinate amount of time focusing on this battle, because this has just been absolutely amazing. We are going to have to watch Braden Mailing though, because he is currently 32 seconds ahead of Matthew Plaisance, but Plaisance has already pitted. side by side on the run down towards Ascari. Then Harry Wills round the outside takes the lead from Dan Tenorio like candy from a baby. There's no issues around Harry Wills whatsoever, is there? He just takes what he wants from this this championship. Just craziness, absolute craziness to see here. Over the line then to start lap number 17, Dan Tenorio onto the tail end of Harry Wills. So is Jonathan Ouellette. Is it going to be 3 wide into the first corner? No, but the Porsche is going to try and drive on the outside of the Merc. Merc clips a little bit of the curb there. Porsche comes up on the inside there. They're still side by side again coming out of that chicane there. Richard Rosado has had a bit of a moment coming out of that first chicane. Has got himself going again though. Jeremy Littleton from Pro-Am comes into pit lane. He was fighting with Michael Kalaga and John Traynor right now, but that fight is going to have to go on ice for just now. Well, there you go, gaps opening up left, right and centre here as we see Jonathan Ouellette going a little bit wide. Let's get a replay of that. And it's going to be through the second of the Lesmos there, and a little bit wide is an understatement. He absolutely power slid that car round the corner there and managed to hold on to it, just being the word here. Here is Chase Wilson currently down in P7, but who we wanted to focus on is Braden Miller. 34.5 seconds ahead of Matthew Plaisance right now, but the question is, when is Braden Mailing going to come into pit lane? Dean Timms and Dan Tenorio already have blinked. They are coming in this lap. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Dan Tenorio doing the jump on Dean Timms. So the natural order is restored as they came into pit lane. There's Michael Kulaga just ahead of John Traynor. So again, we're now having to wait and see where these drivers all file out, because we've only got 15 and a bit minutes left to go in this race here. So that means now that we've kind of got an even half-half split of the drivers who have pitted and the drivers who still have to pit at this point in time in the race. And again, you're kind of in the point where you're going to have marginal returns, marginal gains on this one, because you're pushing your car, you're pushing the fuel limit of the car, you're pushing your tyres as well. So again, it'll be very interesting to see how much they can hold out. Also seeing that Harry Wills now has got a 3.4 second gap over Jonathan Ouellette, so he is very comfortably out there in front of the race, is our very own Harry Wills. But when is he going to come into pits? It's going to be this lap now for Harry Wills. Jumps onto the pit speed limiter and comes into the pits. Now the next question for me is, when's Braden Mailing going to come into the pits? Now he has got another couple of corners to go. He's coming through the second Lesmo, so he's still got the entirety of the back straight. You've got to think now that he is going to have to come and pit Justin Delano comes into the pits from the lead of the Pro-Ams. Akrafil Haddad comes in as well. So does Michael Kulaga and John Trainer. So I believe this is likely the last lap that a lot of these guys are able to do their pit stops. We're still looking for Eric Kulaga, Justin Rustow and Braden Mailing. And the reason we're looking towards Braden Mailing is we need to figure out where he's going to come back out ahead of, or if he's going to be ahead of Matthew Plaisance. There we go, there's the answer. It is the last lap that these cars can do. So into the pits then comes Braden Mailing with just 14.5 minutes left to go. And the question now is, where is Matthew Plaisance? He is just out of the Ascari chicane. And then going to be coming up to the Parabolica. But it's too late, because there comes Braden Mailing coming down the start-finish straight there, as Matthew Plaisance just coming out now. So that is going to be a very, very close little thing here, because of course Mailing's still getting up to speed there. You can see Plaisance just in the background there, so it looks like it's going to be about 2.5 seconds, but Mailing has got the jump over Matthew Plaisance there. So very, very well played there from Braden Mailing to get that done. Jonathan Ouellette still in the lead of Harry Wills, so that has been an absolute turn up for the books, because remember, Jonathan Ouellette was 3 seconds behind coming into this race here. So again, I just don't see how on earth that's happened. However, I get the feeling that Harry Wills is going to try and make very short work of this indeed. Two of them fighting side by side, Harry Wills and Jonathan Ouellette. This is epic stuff here. We've only got a handful of laps left to go here. We've also got Chase Wilson and John Trainer fighting side by side. Chase Wilson had a hell of a recovery drive in that car, in that Lamborghini. We saw him having a bit of a moment earlier on in the race here and doing very, very well to hold on to that. But have a look at John Trainer. He really wants to hold on to that position. Moves one way, then the other. Tries to go around the outside, but that is going to be Chase Wilson's every single day of the week. Braden Mailing now 3.9 seconds ahead of Matthew Plaisance, so that one looks like it's done and dusted. Michael Fowler is back up into P3 just now then after that earlier incident, and then up with the pros as well, is back to what it was before then. Harry Wills takes the lead ahead of Jonathan Ouellette, Dan Tenorio and Dean Timms right now. Tell you what, it gives you an idea of the straight line performance of that Porsche there, just able to outdrive the BMW at the back of that group with absolute ease right now. But the Porsche onto the back there, that's Dan Tenorio trying to catch up onto Jonathan Ouellette right now. Again, 4 cars within what's that, about a second and a half of each other. Chase Wilson though still ahead of John Trainer with just over 10 minutes left to go in this race. Steve Martinez trying to catch up to the groups as well, but it's all pretty much sedentary stuff over in the AM in terms of the gaps that are there. It looks to be all done and dusted. There's nothing really to write home about in terms of the battles that are there, but Braden Mailing still leads Matthew Plaisance, and it's then Michael Fowler in 3rd position. And yeah, just watching how this is all going to unfold. So again, this pro battle raging on all the time here. Justin Delano 4.5 seconds ahead of Akraf Haddad. Chase Wilson in P3 is just 0.7 of a second behind John Trainer. But here we go, this is a little battle then. Dan Tenorio and Jonathan Ouellette. Where is the BMW? Dean Tim's going to go in all this as well, because this is allowing Harry Wills to streak off a little bit, and I mean a tiny little bit. 0.4 of a second is the gap here with just 9 minutes left to go. I wonder if there's a little bit of Porsche on Porsche bump drafting action here from Twisted Racing. And again, this just looks like an exhibition race from the team. They're all having an absolute whale of a time. Cannot wait to get a chat with them post race tonight, because they will be just having the time of their lives right now. Meanwhile, here's another little fight. This is not for class position, because this is Richard Rosado against Rick Swan. So the two of them just decided to have a fight for the sake of it here. 6.2 now is the gap between Braden Mailing and Matthew Plaisson, so that gap looks to be done and dusted. However, Steve Martinez, again, this is not for overall position. This is for this is for overall position. This is not for class position, because Plaisson's is second place in AMS, and the car behind him is Steve Martinez in the Pro AMS as well. So he probably would be better just letting that car go and trying to get a little bit of toll down the start-finish straight here. However, back with our pro battle right now. Harry Wills starting to get caught up a little bit again. 0.6 of a second now to Dan Tenorio. Jonathan Ouellette in P3. Dean Timms in P4 as well. And again, this just is so appetising, this little fight that's going on, because you can tell with the fact that they're all very, very good friends with each other there. As who was out off in the background there? That was Dean Timms, who went flying off there. We need to find out what on earth happened there. Oh, he just completely missed it into the final corner there. He's now completely out of it. He's 3.9 seconds off of this little battle here, and I think that he will be throwing in the towel very, very shortly indeed. Meanwhile, back with this lead battle then, Harry Wills, Dan Tenorio and Jonathan Ouellette. We've got 7 minutes left to go in the race. With the Pro AMS is Justin Delano, Akraf Haddad. You've then got Chase Wilson, John Trainer, Jeremy Littleton in P5, Eric Kalaga in 6th, Justin Rustow in 7th, Martinez in 8th position, Steve Martinez. Then you've got Michael Kulaga in 9th, Richard Rosado in 10th position, and the other two cars are out of the race. However, let's have a little three-way battle for the lead, shall we? Because of course, why not? Because, you know, it's one of those things that's got to happen. Harry Wills now again managed to somehow snatch defeat from the jaws of victory here. He was 0.6 of a second up. Now he's completely caught by Dan Tenorio and Jonathan Ouellette and thrown straight back into the fire here. It will all come down in this back stretch. But anyway, Braden Mailing is in the lead of the AMS right now. Matthew Plaisson's in second place. Michael Fowler in third just now. And you can see that's about 10 seconds from first to third right now. It's then another 15 seconds back to John Casey. You've got Ethan and Rick Swan. And then Charles Bushell and Andrew Hewitt are out of the race. Late onto the brakes into turn one then. Dan Tenorio and Harry Wills still fighting it out, and have a look at Jonathan Ouellette. There's a little bit of contact there between Wills and Tenorio, a little bit of a wiggle as they didn't really give each other enough room there. Almost 3 wide coming across the third turn here. That's just scandalous. I don't understand how they're able to do this. 3 wide coming into the chicane is scary stuff here at Monza, but it's going to be Jonathan Ouellette late onto the brakes as the two Porsches, as the Merc gets a better run out. So Harry Wills disposes of Jonathan Ouellette already. So it's Dan Tenorio who's in the lead of the race, but that is until we get into the first of the Lesmos here, as we've got 5 minutes left to do. Harry Wills getting a little bit more impatient as we go into Lesmo number 2. And again, it's all about the run out here down the back stretch. He'd be better just holding his time, holding his nerve, waiting his time, and getting down on that back stretch here. Here comes Harry Wills, though. He's going to throw it up the inside into Ascari, late onto the brakes here, over the curb, and that is an aggressive and very, very pretty move there from Harry Wills. Gets the move done. And this is just, I mean, what do you say to this? You know, we get a lot of the teams complaining that they don't get enough notice on the stream, as you see Dan Tenorio jinking one way, then another, and then just fires it up the inside. How can you take your eyes off of this? This is just madness. Absolute madness. 4 minutes left to go though. And what's Jonathan Ouellette going to do here? Because it feels like he's a bit of the wild card here. He's going to get his way past Dan Tenorio, so again it's going to be 3 wide down the main straight here, and Ouellette has to back out of it. Dan Tenorio fires it up the inside and takes the lead off the race. Harry Wills gets a poor exit through the second half of the first corner there, and that is going to mean that Jonathan Ouellette can sneak up on the inside here, and Dan Tenorio, I mean, fair play to Harry Wills, he's still keeping his foot in here. This is just absolutely savage stuff. And contact, there goes Harry Wills, has to, there goes Dan Tenorio jumping off to the back of the group there, so Harry Wills takes the lead of the race there. A little bit of contact there, and I think that was just basically the car in front having a little bit of a moment there and coming into the path of Harry Wills, who will will take that opportunity with open arms. I think it's fair to say on that. Right, okay, so Brain Mailing isn't an issue anymore for Matthew Plaisance. Michael Fowler is an issue for Matthew Plaisance right now, because with just 3 minutes left to go, he's coming under real pressure for not only P14 but also for that position here, that second position in the AM class. What a race we've been treated to this evening. It's been a fantastic affair. Jonathan Ouellette wants to go very wide out into that final corner, but here we go then. This is going to be the penultimate lap of the race. We've got 2.5 minutes left to go here. We're just under. Now what is Jonathan Ouellette going to do? He moves to the side with Harry Wills, but can't quite make anything happen of it. Gets a much better exit out that corner though. Here comes the Porsche on the Mercedes AMG. It's going to be the run down through turn 3 and then into the first chicane. Going to be late on the brakes there from Jonathan Ouellette. Pulls it on the inside. Harry Wills is going to have the inside for the next corner though, and Ouellette tries to hold in. So what's going to happen here around the Lesmos? Yeah, Wills takes that position, and Jonathan Ouellette just has to sink into that second position for just now. Side by side up the inside goes Jonathan Ouellette, clips a bit of the curb there. That leaves him vulnerable now to Dan Tenorio. Well, we've got a battle for second and third position then. This is Matthew Plaisance fighting that out with Michael Fowler. Fowler still trying to get that second position, and he's only going to have one more lap to do it. Goes a little scrappy, a little bit wide there coming out that first chicane. He'll still be trying to push as much as he can. Meanwhile, Ethan Swan side by side with John Casey. They're going to be into the brakes into turn 1, and it looks like that is going to be Ethan Swan taking that position from the Ferrari of John Casey. Here we go then, final lap of the race just started, as Harry Wills still ahead of Dan Tenorio now, who gets ahead of Jonathan Ouellette. John Casey and Ethan Swan coming into Parabolica. Ethan Swan trying to drive around the outside. There's contact. That was the Lesmos actually, and that is John Casey who gets hit, and that car is fairly badly damaged, and that is not what you want to see at this end of the race, as well as Matthew Plaisance goes side by side then with your third place car of Michael Fowler. Fowler still trying to hold on that position, gets the cut back out that final corner. Then what can they do? Is going to be the drag race down towards the first corner here. Remember, this is going to be the final lap of the race that they're about to start on now, because here comes Harry Wills. That gap now just 1/10 of a second. Jonathan Ouellette has dropped off the tail end of this group here, and Matthew Plaisance looks to have secured that position there from Michael Fowler. I believe that might have been a slow down penalty for Fowler on that one, but let's focus on Harry Wills then through into the final corner there, and that was Dan Tenorio making a little bit of a wobble there that leaves him vulnerable to Jonathan Ouellette. What can we do though? Coming across the line, it's going to be a win for Harry Wills, Dan Tenorio in second, Jonathan Ouellette in third position. What a race for them. Dean Tim's going to come across the line in fourth there, but it's Justin Delano for the Pro-Ams here. He's going to come out the final corner and come across the line to win. Great stuff there for Justin Delano. Achraf El Haddad is going to finish in P2. Chase Wilson in P3. Very tightly fought little battle there. John Traynor is going to finish in P4. Jeremy Littleton P5 for Pro-Ams, Eric Kalaga in P6 for Pro-Ams, and then Justin Rustow and Stephen Martinez with Michael Kalaga 7th, 8th and 9th. But here we go, this is what it's all about. And I'll tell you in a minute, because Ethan Swan has crashed out the race, so that means Matthew Plaisance takes second place, Michael Fowler is going to take third place. But there you go, Braden Mailing with some much needed championship points tonight here in race 2. It's Matthew Plaisance in second, Michael Fowler in third, Rick Swan in fourth position, and John Casey finishing in fifth position. But my goodness me, what a race that was. That was absolutely enthralling stuff there. Hope you guys all enjoyed that. Certainly I did up here in the commentary box. So we'll be just a second, and we'll get our winners in for a little post-race chat as well, as the final cars come across the line, and we can head to our results very shortly after an epic second race of the night. Then 50 minutes here at Monza, and as I said, it's safe to say a lot of these drivers had a brilliant time. Let's have a quick look at what happened actually to Ethan Swan. And I wonder if he's just trying to nurse that car home. He's out of fuel. That's what's happened. He's had to stop the car because he is out of fuel. Let's have a look then at the results. Harry Wills taking the win from Dan Tenorio and Jonathan Ouellette. Dean Timms in fourth place for the pros. The Pro-Ams then, let's have a look at this. Pro-Ams, Justin Delano takes the win from Achraf El Haddad, Chase Wilson in third position, John Traynor in fourth, Jeremy Littleton in fifth position, Eric Kalaga in sixth, Justin Rustow in seventh, Stephen Martinez in eighth position, Michael Kalaga in ninth, Richard Rosado finishing one lap down, Andrew Hewson and Gary Brown did not finish the race. Over to the AMS then, and it was a race win for Braden Mailing after a fight with Matthew Plaisance and Rick Swan. John Casey taking fourth position, Michael Fowler and Ethan Swan finishing one lap down, with Ethan Swan crashing out, or rather retiring with no fuel. And then Charles Michel and Andrew Hewitt rounding out the grid. Well, what a race that was. Let's chat to some of our AM drivers first then. Let's bring in Michael Fowler first of all. And while we do that, actually, we'll bring him in. And Michael, firstly, congratulations. That was an awesome race. How were the two races for yourself tonight?
Well, the first race was a nail biter the entire time. Tried to get around Braden, and just anytime I make a pass, he just had too much speed on the straights for me to make anything stick, unfortunately. But he's an excellent. It's excellent racing against him. He's very clean and respectful, and we've had very good races against each other so far.
And obviously, it was a fairly chaotic race through for everyone else, but for yourself, you actually managed to escape quite a lot of the serious drama.
Yeah, race 2, I got into the wall, got a little loose going into the S's, trying to battle, I think, Rick Swan or something. And when everybody wrecked ahead of us, I had my eyes on that and lost concentration, and I ended up actually losing some top-end speed. So I went into the pits a little bit early and just kind of ran my race, and unfortunately went from P3. It's funny, the white flag lap I thought was the last lap, and I was a couple inches behind Matthew Plaisance coming across the finish line, and so I pulled off thinking the race was over, and then it wasn't. And then it ran out of fuel.
What was it like seeing that car upside down as you were coming through Ascari?
That was pretty crazy. I don't know if there were more than one of them, but there was definitely one of them. He did some flips there, and I was, that's what put me in the wall. I was paying so much attention to that, I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing.
Well, either way, you gave us lots of entertainment tonight. Congratulations, Michael, and some much needed points for the championship.
Alright, yep, thank you.
So there we go then, Michael Fowler having a quick chat with us. Let's have another chat with our AM winner from race 2 then. A very good evening to Braden Mailing. Braden, you kind of got to run away with that second race there, and all hell was kicking off behind you.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough race. Like, yeah, I did run off with it, thankfully, after the pit stops, but I was honestly really worried about Fowler catching back up after that early pit stop. We're really worried about the undercut there.
Talk us through that second race then, because the first one was, it was a condensed affair, but the second one you really had to work for that, and then there just seemed to become a point in the race where you didn't really have to look back at all.
Yeah, so right at the beginning of the race, obviously Fowler starting right beside me, I knew it was going to be like basically similar to race 1. I wanted to try and get in front of him as quick as possible, and then try and put some cars between us, hopefully slow him down, open a few gaps up. And I'm not going to lie, the first little bit I was actually distracted by my teammate cutting through the field in front of me, because he was doing a really good job of that. But then there was that bit of an incident in the S's on the exit there. Sounded like a little bit of netcode, and barely managed to avoid that contact. Apparently Fowler didn't get off too well from that, hitting a wall, I think he said.
Yeah, that's what he said there, and then obviously there was that big incident as well with Andrew Hewitt.
Yeah, and I mean, thankfully, like, I put enough fuel in for the race as well too. Like, that was another big thing. I know Monza's a fuel-hungry track, so I made sure to stick a little bit of extra fuel in there, and it worked. It paid off, and managed to secure a double win today, and I think points-wise, that puts me ahead by like 2 or 3 points.
And obviously, we've got Mosport coming up next week. That leaves you in a very, very good position for that race.
Oh yeah, definitely. Motorsport Park is probably one of my favorite tracks to race GTs on. And I know when IMSA was there earlier in the official season, I was just grinding out that track, and it actually helped me get up to 2KI rating at one point. So I do know my way around that track, and I'm hoping I'm able to get a good spot on it.
Excellent stuff, Braden. Thank you so much for coming and having a chat with us tonight. Best of luck. Congratulations on taking the lead in the championship, and we'll hopefully speak to you next week.
Hopefully.
There we go then, Braden Mailing. We'll round things out actually in AM. We'll bring in Matthew Plaisance, who finished second in that race there. But Matthew, again, you had a proper little fight on your hands towards the end of the race, and then it just disappeared.
Oh, at the end, yeah. We were praying to make it on fuel, and then Fowler hit the brakes because he thought the race was over, which is why he slowed down so much. He still ran out of fuel anyway, and once I saw him actually run out, I was able to lift and make it on what I had.
Now talk us through the evening, Matthew, because obviously race 1 was a little bit more tricky, I think, for you than race 2.
Yeah, I knew that Braden and Fowler were going to pull away from me, especially after seeing race 1, so it was just... I knew I had to, for race 2, I had to get through the field as quickly as I could to try to put as much time, much space and cars in between us. And I knew Braden was going to overtake me eventually, and he actually got me on an undercut, which we weren't trying that. It just kind of happened. So I was going to let it. He's ahead of me in the points, and at this late in the season, I was pretty much going to let him go anyway, just to play the team game.
And obviously coming towards the tail end of the season, points wise, I think there's an outside chance of the championship. Is that on your mind at all, or is it just purely getting some good results?
Well, if either of them, or I think Rick still might be in front of me in points, but if any of them happen to have an incident, I'm definitely going to be there to pick up the pieces. But the next round at Mosport, I just bought the track tonight, so let's all pray for me, please.
F's in chat in advance. Matthew, thank you so much for coming and joining us tonight, and we'll speak to you next week.
All right, thank you.
So there we go, Matthew Plaisance from the AM Championship. Now we are blessed with royalty tonight. We've got Harry Wills, so we're going to save him until last. Let's head over to Pro Am then, where we had Justin Delano absolutely running riot. Justin, a fantastic outing for you this week, and well, I mean, I've been saying lots of nice things about you this week, but tell us how that night went for you.
Well, obviously it went pretty well. I think a lot of it was just luck, especially in that first race. Al Haddad I think he chased down 2 seconds on me after that really good start I had.
And then on that note then, obviously with the championship, I think that puts you within touching distance of Chase Wilson, who didn't have the best nights tonight, finished third in that second race there, but some crucial championship points.
Yeah, absolutely. He definitely had a good drive there still, and I think it's really going to come down to the end of the season.
And talking of that, you've got Mosport Park coming up next week. Is that a track that you particularly like?
No, I'm not too excited for it, but maybe not just because I'm driving the Porsche.
Well, fingers crossed you have a good one, Justin. Thanks for coming in and having a quick chat with us tonight. Best of luck next week, and we'll speak to you soon.
Appreciate it. Have a good one.
There we go then, Justin Delano. Right, we have to bring the big man in himself, Harry Wills. What the hell was that with the pro class tonight?
You see, you don't need big grids. I know it's nice to have them, but you just need a few guys that you can really... I mean, I'm knackered. Like, I was knackered before that, and now I'm really knackered. That was some of the best, I know I run Twisted, but I mean, just the respect that we've got for each other to do that lap in, lap out. And even when there's, you see someone getting a bit out of shape or whatever, it's having that inert reaction to going, I'm not going to hit them, or I'm not going to try and maximise this opportunity. And that's where a lot of the problems happen, I think, in racing, where you see someone go sideways and you're like, oh, this is my chance, and that's where it all goes wrong, and it's a give and take. That was just brilliant. I've got to say, I can't say enough about that. Really enjoyed it.
Two things. One is I've got no nails left after that set of races, because it wasn't just race 2. Race 1 was like that as well. And also, just looking at the fighting that you guys had, and I know for a fact that I think all 4 of you were in voice chat with each other. How loud were you guys laughing?
You know what? I wasn't. I was muted because I thought. I mean, the thing is, I know that might look like we're sort of just sort of prattling about. I was really trying there. Like I tried the first bit where on the first sort of 5 laps, 10 laps. I thought, I think I can get a gap here, and then I made a couple of little mistakes, and they just came in. And I thought, and I got to say, it wasn't. I think if any one of us had the chance to get the break and get the gap, we'd have took it. So that was just 4 people that can run a lap time probably within a nanosecond of each other, having some fun.
And obviously, you know, it's one thing you've all been part of the same team, but all being part of the same class as well just shows really how close things are here.
Massively, yeah. You know, and I think it was a couple of 3 seasons ago that we had, and I think it was sort of 7 or 8 of us in the pro class in the US series, and that was happening week in, week out across 7 or 8 drivers. It was Dan, Dave Menanow, and a few others, and it was just every week it was like that. We were just constantly having those sort of battles across 7 or 8 cars, and I think it's on a draft track because you're so close. You know, you can run lap times so close to each other that, well, what do? You either sit behind somebody or you go for the move, and yeah, that was just fantastic. I really enjoyed that.
Well, a huge thank you for all of the entertainment from all the Twisted guys tonight. Best of luck, Harry, for the remainder of the season, and we'll speak to you next week.
That you shall, Dave. You have a good evening. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much then. So Harry Wills then doing a grand job there, and doing a fantastic effort here. But that is it from us tonight here at Monza. We hope you've had a fantastic night. We've certainly enjoyed everything. I say we, it's been me all by myself, Dave Christie, here with you tonight as part of the commentary team. Normal service resumed next week when we have Alex Goldschmidt back in the commentary box with myself for the IMB WSL GT3 Season 4 Round 8 when we head to Mo Sport Park. But on behalf of everyone here at WSL, have a wonderful week. We will see you back bright and early at 8 o'clock PM for the EU class, and then 1:30 AM UK time, 8 PM US time for the US split as well. Until then, take care, have a great week, and we'll see you soon.